afternoon, everybody. Phil Simons with Columbia Grain here, and your Friday afternoon weekly grain market recap. Well, before we get into it, we just want to have a quick reminder that on Monday, the markets will be closed in observance of Memorial Day. So we'll actually kick things back off on Tuesday next week. So again, just remember that on Monday, all markets will be actually closed. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. I'm going to share my screen with you again here, and we're going to navigate to our favorite website, columbiagrain.com. We're going to navigate to the upper right-hand corner to Producer Solutions, where we house all of our market news and data. So again, when we take a look at what was actually happening this week, things were actually fairly muted when we really compare it to what we have been seeing over the last 6 months of the year so far. And again, we are getting close to turning the page into June, and summer is definitely welcome. But again, when we take a look at what has been driving everything here, take a look at the export sales report from this week on Thursday, and we saw that was a pretty brutal report, quite honestly. Overall, we're seeing really the repercussions of being unpriced competitive in the world environment. When we take a look at corn, we can see that we actually had net cancellations of old crop corn. And when we look at new crop sales from last week, it was actually only at 2.1 million bushels. So pretty low in all comparative historical representations anyway. Then when we take a look at soybeans as well, we did see a few old crop beans get priced and sold out. But again, the source thumb right now that we continue to see is zeros for new crop for the 23-24 crop. So again, just showing how unpriced competitive that we are in the world market. When we take a look at wheat, we did actually see, again, net cancellations in old crop, but realistically, we're right into June next week, and that is going to be the new crop for the 23-24 crop year for wheat. So again, we do see new crop sales coming in at 9 million bushels. It really kind of smattered between pretty much all classes. You had some spring wheat, some winter wheat, some soft red, and also some soft white get reported in terms of export sales. Well, it was good, fairly decent to see for new crop anyway. But really, when we take a look at what was happening and how things actually settled out on the week, really going into today, we were pretty well muted, but corn, quite honestly, got a pretty decent little bid to close the week out, and really more on concern over the weather forecast as we continue to move forward. Just really more of dry conditions, creating some potential concerns over what the first conditions report will be out next week and what that will actually look like. And again, when we look out the curve, we do see the 10-day forecast continues to look fairly dry. So just some concerns starting to mount in terms of what the overall corn condition is going to look like when we see the first blush here next week. When we look at what the actual ranges were, we do see that D's corn had a weekly range of 39 cents, and we were actually able to hold on to a net gain of 35 cents on the week here. So that was definitely welcome from that standpoint. And next up, when we take a look at beans, we see that the weekly range was 36 cents, and the weekly change, we actually held on to 13 cents. Kansas wheat, we actually had a relatively narrow range for Kansas wheat, quite honestly, just 13 cents. And we were actually able to close the week out with a net gain of a penny. In Chicago, we actually had a weekly range of 30 cents, and we were actually able to hold on to 10 cents of that gain on the week. And finally, looking at Minneapolis, we actually had a 38-cent range in Minneapolis, December, and we actually were able to hold on to a net gain of 14 cents. So again, when we really take a look at what was happening here this week, there wasn't a whole heck of a lot in terms of new news and new data. There was definitely more rhetoric in terms of what's going on over the Black Sea and how Russia is handling some export facilities over there. So again, just make sure to get your orders out there and working with your local Columbia Grain merchandiser. Get your cash orders out there, your basis orders, your hedge to arise, and also accumulator contracts as well. So be sure to get a hold of your local Columbia Grain merchandiser and make sure that you have your marketing plan at least out there and working for you. Other than that, that's about it for the week. We're going to go ahead and wrap everything up. Just a quick reminder that we will be closed on Monday next week and back at it on Tuesday. Other than that, that's about it. And remember, the first 5 letters of broker spell broke. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll talk with you next week.